Hi, it's Dr. Steve from Misericordia University. In today's online class, let's consider tools that promote interactive, engaging activities that can both support and assess students. When we hear about assessment, many times we think about tests and quizzes and items like that. But assessment in the broader sense is a process for gathering information about students and their progress in order to make decisions about education. Because of technology and the way it's advancing today, teachers now have many ways to help students demonstrate their learning and also to assess the student progress in learning, ways that go much beyond a simple pencil and paper type test. We know that students all learn in different ways. Since we look at teaching in different ways in order to address different modalities of learning, we should also consider how we can ask students to demonstrate what they've learned. In other words, assessing their learning in different ways. Technology can really boost in doing this. In this presentation, let's start out by looking at tools that can support students. Let's give them a tool so they could create a timeline to better understand information. Let's support students at different reading levels, and let's introduce some simulated social media tools as ways for students to demonstrate and practice their learning. And then let's take a look at some tools that can support teaching. Let's look at how we can provide links and resources and how we can assess students and how we can make videos interactive for student use. Let's begin with tools that can support students. Many students will better be able to understand dates of historical events in social studies or understand developments that led to the Industrial Revolution if they could see them plotted or if they themselves could plot them on a timeline. Here's a timeline tool located at classtools.net that can help us do just that. So here I am at the timeline tool at classtools.net. I'm going to start by typing the title. And I'm going to enter the low end of my timeline, which is going to be 1983. And I'm going to enter the high end of my timeline. And the rest is filled in. I can add an item, for example, the invention of the Apple computer. And having created that node, I can use this tool to drag it on the timeline, which in this case goes back to 1983. Using technology, teachers are able to support students who are reading at different levels, and this could also help support our English learners as well. Let's take a look at one such tool that can allow students to read the same article but at different reading levels. I have opened Tween Tribune. This is a web tool that's run by the Smithsonian, and they always have current, very much up-to-date and interesting articles for use in schools. Now I'm going to click on the first one dealing with the virtual trip to the International Space Station. Notice these different numbers followed by an L. I'm going to click into the highest one. So we enter the article, and this is 1230L, or Lexile. By Lexile, we're referring to the level of reading of the student. And let's just focus on the first paragraph. Notice the sentences are a little bit longer, like this one, but thanks to the new virtual reality tour, and it's a very lengthy sentence and a complex sentence, and it's using words like mind-boggling. Okay, the same article, let me now click into 660, a lower Lexile score. Let's once again focus on that first paragraph. Notice the sentences are much smaller, easier to comprehend by students. This is a question few people can answer, period. But thanks to a virtual reality tour, comma. Notice that this sentence is a little bit shorter, and really this was one long sentence at the higher Lexile rate. Notice the word mind-boggling is no longer here. Instead, the word amazing appears. So by using this tool, you can support students at different reading levels. As teachers, it is important for us, and we desire to support students at different reading levels, including our English learners. There are some online tools that can help in this process, one of which is Rewordify, and another one called readworks.org. Let's take a look at Rewordify and see how it can support our students. I have opened up rewordify.com. I'm going to paste some text in this yellow box, and I'm going to click Rewordify. So up above, you can now see highlighted in yellow the words that were changed to make it more easily understandable. So the word playwright playwriter instead of the word playwright, instead of saying widely regarded as the greatest writer, believed by almost everyone to be, and instead of saying the bard of Avon, here it says the poet. Another thing that you can do at Rewordify is you can paste in the URL of a website. So I've done that here, and this is my email website, and I can do two things here. I can either say just show me the text, or Rewordify the web page and display the web page. So here's the results. So here's my using email, and notice all the words in yellow, things that are made a little bit easier. So instead of the word simultaneously, not happening at the same time. And as I look through, it's not perfect, but it really does a great job. Here, instead of talking about cluttering and so on, here it says filled with messy piles of things. Here where it says Misericordia, it's funny because it took the word miser and it said cheap person. So it's not perfect, but you can see it really did attempt to work on the entire web page. So this can help many students to understand more complex text. All your students will be familiar with various social media tools. Instead of Facebook, ClassTools.net offers a tool called Fakebook. Fakebook looks very much like Facebook and functions like it, except that it's not a real social media site. It's designed for educational purposes only. Students can create a fake profile, which includes graphics and history and various information here, and then they can start posting to Fakebook for that particular person. So in other words, posting as if they were that person. They can save their work, and then that can be an assignment that students show to you to demonstrate their learning. Similar to Fakebook is another tool offered by ClassTools.net called Twister, and Twister is based on Twitter. So similarly, students can create a fictional account, and they can create status updates, which can then be saved and printed and so on. And think about what you can do with this in your classes. You can have students create tweets based on a fictional character, based on some literary character. It could be based on some historical person. A third tool offered by this same site is an SMS generator. In other words, it's a texting tool. So notice a screenshot here of the tool. It looks like a phone. So a student could simulate texting between two different people. And again, you could choose fictional characters, some character in literature, or some historical figure. If you use any of these tools, you will be prompting students to write, but yet it will be a much more engaging and relevant to the student and interesting writing assignment than historical basic writing assignments that teachers have done for many years. Now let's turn our focus toward tools that can help the teacher in the teaching process. Using a tool like Symbaloo, either a teacher can create a page of icons that are basically links to different websites and tools and resources that you want to use with your class, or you could ask your students to create a Symbaloo or add to one in which they create links to various tools. Let's see how it looks. Here is my EdTech Symbaloo. So you can see a series of tiles in which I can share with students, and in this case with other teachers. I'm going to click on one of them, and that immediately takes us out to that particular link, in this case the trading card creator at Read Write Think. So again, you can have your students develop these, or you can develop these for your students. Another technology tool you could use with your students is a QR code. And QR is short for quick response. You could create QR codes to lead students to web page URLs, to videos. For example, on YouTube, you could provide them with a question or some type of text. You could give them a location on Google Maps or other site. You could also provide information that could support activities like a scavenger hunt. Many mobile devices come already preloaded with a QR code scanner, so your students may not need to locate any apps in order to make this happen, to read these QR codes. But if they need to, they can simply go to their appropriate app store and locate one, and many of them are for free. And they can also use scanners that are provided on some social media sites. I am now going to open the QR code reader that comes standard in the latest version of iPad iOS. All I have to do is get the QR code in my sights. There it is, asking a question at the bottom of the screen. Now let me get another one in. And this is to a URL, and you'll recognize that website. By using these QR codes, you can make your class so much more interactive. Here I am at QR Code Monkey, a QR code generator. It's very easy to use. All I have to do is click into the area that says Enter Content. I'm going to paste in a URL. And then I have some other options if I choose to use them. And then I click on Create QR Code. And then I can simply download it. Here is the QR code to take me to my main EdTech web page. But notice, if I wanted to do text, I could just click on the text area and type some text in here. Like I could type a question or some other information. I could provide email and all kinds of things, including YouTube links. Another technology that can positively support teaching and learning in your classroom is known as a student response system. Student response systems are also sometimes known as clickers, and they go by other names as well, such as audience response systems. This type of technology allows a teacher to ask questions during lecture through some form of technology. The technology gathers the student responses and it allows a teacher to gauge how students are learning the material. We can go high-tech with this, whereas every student has his or her own device. We can use a phone for this, in which students log into an app or into a website, or we can go low-tech through a tool called Plickers. Soapbox is a web tool that you and your students could log into. On the high end, a teacher can prepare formative assessments and send out at different times questions to which the students can respond. Again, this can be for assessment purpose, for grading purpose. It could be just like it could be the electronic form of asking questions in class as well, where you're engaging the students and prompting them to think about responses and commit to them. And this way, by using Soapbox, you could get real-time assessment data on the entire class, versus if you're having a discussion and or asking questions of the class and only getting a certain subset of the students responding. On the low end, you could include, because all these things you could turn on and off in Soapbox, you could turn on the student confusion barometer. And this is a real-time situation where the student gets to click one of two buttons: I'm okay, or I'm confused. And their total of students will show up on the teacher's screen. Middle of the road, a teacher could perform real-time class polling. In other words, you could ask questions simply to engage students in the class and to get them to commit to some responses, to give their opinions on things, and again, just for engagement, and also to gauge where they're at, depending on the type of question that you ask. In all cases, when you use a tool like Soapbox, you are gaining real-time and ongoing assessment information that can guide real-time how your instruction is going. If a school is opting to purchase hardware such as the Promethean board for use with Active Inspire software, teachers may have the option to use student response systems, and that would mean hardware such as the Active Vote, which is a simple piece of hardware like A, B, C, D, true and false types of responses to use with students, or the Active Expression. It's much more expensive, but a much more flexible tool, a robust tool as well, whereas it kind of looks like a cell phone. So students will be very comfortable with this, and they can actually provide short answer responses, short essays, and so on. And teachers can use this type of hardware and incorporate it right into their presentations, and again, immediately they get real-time data on how students are performing. Now, in addition to hardware such as this, student response systems that are associated with particular presentation boards and systems, there are also a number of other companies who provide tools like this. They're just not tied directly into a presentation system. Some of those tools will tie directly into products such as PowerPoint, and will incorporate the responses, will generate a summary of all those responses and either present them to the teacher or make it presentable to the students through PowerPoint. A lower tech version of a student response system is Plickers. And Plickers involves the teacher using a smart device, some mobile technology like an iPad or a cell phone, and then the students, instead of having some computerized electronic device, instead they use a piece of paper that holds a QR, a quick response code on it. So for example, here you see pictured the student number 1, that person's response card. You notice the number 1 is going around the card. You'll also notice there's an A, B, C, and D on this card. And the rest of the material on the card is the quick response code. Notice in this case, pictured here, we have letter B showing on top. So when the teacher wants to ask a question in the middle of class, the teacher then prompts the students to hold up the appropriate response, and they simply have to take the letter A, B, C, or D, whatever their response is going to be, and put that to the top and just simply hold it up so the teacher's camera can view this. This is a very quick technology from one point in a classroom, and I know because I've tried this in very large rooms with a large number of people. Teacher doesn't have to move. The teacher simply moves the camera around, and within several seconds will gather the responses of all the students. And again, real time, the teacher now has assessment data and can use that to drive where he or she goes throughout the rest of this class by using that information very well. So you can go from high-tech to low-tech solutions. One technology tool that can speed up your assessment in class is called ZipGrade. And ZipGrade, there's a free version, and if you're going to use it over time, you'll definitely want to buy the Pro version, which at the time of the recording of this video is about $7 per year. And it's certainly worth it. What the teacher does is the teacher has access to print out various multiple choice answer sheets, and as few as 20 items up to 50 or even 100 items. The students fill the sheet out as they typically would in a multiple choice test by filling in the little bubbles, the little circles. And then a teacher simply has to take a picture of the answer sheet, and it will be instantly graded. In addition to the instant grading, the sheet itself is going to be saved in the cloud, so no one has access to it. It's secure, but you still have a record of that answer sheet should you decide to let the student walk out of the class with the sheet. A teacher could use video to really enhance their classroom, whether it's video that's being used during class or video that's assigned to students as homework. Many teachers shy away from using video as homework because they wonder, will students watch the video? Well, here's a way that you can help ensure that students will watch the video and will also give them something to focus on as they watch the video. That is, tools such as Edpuzzle and Play Posit. Edpuzzle was the first tool to come out of its sort, and it's a good tool. My favorite tool here is Play Posit. Both of these tools allow a teacher to select a video, and then they can crop the video if they choose. In other words, use only a portion that you desire. You could then record your voice over parts of the video if you choose. And one of the most important things is you can embed quiz questions, and then you can review the results of how the students did on that assessment. There are many sources of instructional video online. Certainly YouTube, Khan Academy, and TED Talks, a lot of us are familiar with. But there are also other good sites that offer other videos as well, such as video lectures, Watch Know Learn, Neo K-12, and PBS Learning Media. Let's take a look at Play Posit for a moment. You can select one of those video sites, select a video, then you can press the Crop Video button, which allows you to determine and specify where does the video start and where does it stop. And then you can press the Add a Question button. Now, if you're using the free version, there are 3 question types that you're given access to right from the beginning, which is multiple choice, free response, and a reflective pause. If you go pro, then all of those other question types are available to you as well. So basically, you decide at what point do you want the video, do you want the question to display. The video will stop, the question will appear, and the student must respond to the question before going on. So this is a great way to first of all incorporate video into your classes, and second of all to make sure that students are being guided through learning, specific learning, as they watch the videos. To wrap up today's class and to further process the information that we considered, let's hold an online discussion. We just surveyed a bunch of technology tools that have potential to support both teachers and students in the classroom. In the discussion, name one or two technologies that we looked at that you might consider using in your classroom. What is the potential benefit of these technologies? And or how or why might you use this tool in teaching? I hope you enjoyed today's class, and I look forward to seeing you at our next class.